Good morning, Safiyah. How you doing? You well?
Hi, I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm blessed, always, in all ways. We're here to talk about your business that you set up with your mum.
Yeah.
Set it up in lockdown, another lockdown business. These are becoming favorites of mine because they are an embodiment of what people can get up to when they've got time on their hands. So talk to me about Grime Model Management.
Yeah, so we did start in the pandemic. Both me and my mum were made redundant. I was working in events and PR. A lot of the clients were fashion clients, and a lot of the work I was doing, kind of freelance, was within fashion. My mum was working at the V&A gallery, which obviously is all about art, it's all about artists, and she was particularly a co-chair in a decolonization group, which was set up to promote, celebrate Black artists. So when we both left the jobs, I started The Modern Impression, which is a consulting agency for kind of upcoming talent. I wanted to create like an accessible agency. And then a lot of the people that were applying happened to be Black models and male. So my mum we came together, both with what she was doing, what I was doing, and she was kind of like, why don't we set up an accessible modeling agency for Black guys? Because we don't feel they're being represented as much as the others, kind of underrepresented in the global market. So that's how Grime Model Management was born.
Sounds like a pretty straightforward process, but it was born out of being made redundant. So I guess, how was you able to focus and pivot so quickly, so easily?
I was working in events. My mum was also in a front-facing role. So when we first got put on furlough, we kind of anticipated it would happen. And we were always simultaneously kind of doing something creative on the side. So when the first lockdown happened, I straight away kind of went into, okay, how can I use all the skills I've got so far and bring it into almost a freelance role that I can go out myself and that I don't need to lean on my company for. So the Modern Impression was built through what I was already doing. So that came very natural to me. The only element is that I'm representing talent rather working with just clients and brands, which I was doing before. So I've always been dabbling in entrepreneurship, I would say. So that was very, very natural to me. And then my mum's ideas and my mum's concepts just worked perfectly with mine. So it was just a progression from the Modern Impression.
A natural marriage.
Exactly.
Talk about setting up then. I mean, how long have you been running, and what were the easy bits, or the hard bits, and what major inroads have you made so far?
So the Modern Impression has been for about a year. That was, as I said, a natural progression. I already had clients from before, some of my personal clients, which I made along the way. The Grime Model Management, I would say it's flown really smoothly, and we're doing well because a couple of the models have come through the Modern Impression. However, I would say a challenge is probably when you're starting a modeling agency, especially kind of not on your own back and maybe with not 10 investors or loads of funding or a lot of PR at the beginning. I think people find it hard to trust it if you're approaching them online and you're not being backed by a huge company. So it's kind of like, we need the models to get the branding and the partnerships, but we also need the branding and the partnerships to get the models. So that's what we're working on now, just kind of working on the PR for it.
Have you got any organizations that you look to and think, right, they've kind of traversed this space and navigated away from, fledgling to an established entity? So do you see any other businesses that you identify that have done that and you think, would like to maybe take a leaf out of their book as well?
To be honest, probably in general, but with modeling agencies, not so much. I would say that's, if just to be honest and to be realistic, that's probably the biggest, like we're an independent small agency, we're catering for Black models only, and we're doing it without huge funding at the moment. So I would say we're standing alone in that.
Would you be open to funding, and would you be specific and particular about where that comes from? Or are you quite amenable?
Right now, we're kind of happy to do it on our own back, but I'd be lying if we said we weren't open and looking for funding. That would, of course, change a lot. Any sort of sponsorship or a backing from like a public figure, I would say like a Black figure in the industry would be amazing.
So you say about a year. what does the next year look like? What's priority, and what type of growth would you like to experience?
So the Modern Impression has been a year. Grime Model Management has only been in around the last 3 months.
Right. Okay.
And then we want to do, I mean, we are launched as a business, but we're doing our official like press party launch in the summer. And that's when we will be launching the talent division on the website. So you can kind of see our roster and who we represent.
Mm-hmm.
And then within a year, I just want to build it to, I mean, at the moment, we have 12 models on our books. And obviously within a year, I want to grow that, work with, you know, bigger brands, more brands, and just build a name in the industry.
What's working with mum like? Oh, she laughs.
No, I thought it was interesting that you asked. I think me and my mum have always been super close. And as I said, we've always kind of done business ventures here and there on the side. So of course, having a business partner plus working with your family and within a pandemic is challenging, but we've always been very close and working together anyway.
Right. So I'm always conscious of speaking to a younger audience, and
yeah,
you know, you're the type that they would relate to, and they would probably want to dig down deep in your journey. We'll get your details at the end, but you know, have you always been that way? Have you always kind of thought to yourself, I'm going to work for myself, I'm kind of always looking outside of the lines?
Yeah, I always have. So I feel like there's the kind of entrepreneur or artist who has to do their art every single day, and they can only do that. They can't take it to the working world either. I've always been split down the middle. So of course I love my art and I do it regardless, but I've always maintained a job on the side. But I've kind of always along the way known I wanted to do my own stuff since I was 18. So 18, I started my first company.
Wow. Okay. So again, so you've always been, it's a habit basically. Right?
Yeah, it's a habit to just always think, well, I'm going to work for myself.
All right. What's the end goal? Talk to me about the end goal when you look at, you know, how this mushrooms, how this starts to blossom. What is that? What does that picture look like?
Grime Model Management or everything that I'm doing?
You talk about everything you're doing, because I mean, I'm not going to segment you. You go in.
I don't know. I think, okay, so when I was younger, I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? But that's a little bit childish if you're not specific in what you want to do. So when I was 18, it was always fashion, which I still want to do. It started off when I was 19 working in Marc Jacobs. I learned a lot from them, and I wanted to start my own kind of avant-garde high fashion swimwear. I started it, realized kind of not how much work, but how much money goes into it. So again, went back to the working life to kind of fund that. And then for the past maybe few years, I wouldn't say caught up because it was such good experience, but I went back to the working life. So it's actually now kind of a blessing that I've gone back to the entrepreneurial life, that I can do it full time. So in the next 5 years, I would say the Modern Impression, Grime Model Management, and my swimwear all obviously thriving at the highest possible way.
Where can everybody find out about all three of those, all of your businesses? Tell me about everything you've got. Where can people find out?
So Grime Model Management, we have a website, www.grimemodelmanagement.com. For submissions, it's talent@grimemodelmanagement.com. The Modern Impression is www.themodernimpression.com. And then Palma Tres, which is my swimwear, is only Instagram right now. Website won't be launching until probably next year. And that is at PALMETRAES.
So you actually, is that the avant-garde swimwear stuff, yeah?
Exactly.
So you actually followed that through, because I was going to say, did that not take off because it was so niche, or is it literally you just didn't understand the mechanics?
It was so right at the beginning, like back when I kind of left school at 16, I wanted to take a gap year to study fashion. And I ended up working in fashion instead and learning a lot because it was such a high-end brand, kind of from concept to putting it on the rails. But I didn't have at 19 the money or probably the knowledge to pull it off. So I thought, okay, let me just work, save a little bit, and life kind of got in the way. And also it's really, really hard to, I think it's a fantastic idea to do avant-garde swimwear, but it's really hard to find the right tailor, because they have to be able to work with swimwear, but they also have to understand the avant-garde fashion. So I struggled with that quite a lot, and I did leave it alone for a while. And now, only because I have the opportunity again, I'm back because I know it's such a good idea.
Well, good luck with that and everything else.
Thank you.
It seems like you got your hands full. You used your lockdown to be a bit more productive than most.
Yeah.
So wishing you all the best moving forward. Is there anything else you want to share with us before you leave?
No, I think that's it for now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.